Testing 1, 2. You can hear me on this one, but you can't hear me on this one. Can you hear me now? This is the worst Christmas ever. That's it. It's done. Nope. We're done. Canceled. Entire thing is canceled. Whole thing sucks. Whole thing sucks. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I don't even want to do it. Guys, I want to thank you so much for checking this out and coming to this wonderful, already top tier, top 10 channel. We're legit here. If you want to check me out, twitch.tv/LoreReloaded. I'll be playing tonight. Have a lot of fun. Twitter.com/LoreReloaded, where we can talk about all the things you guys want to, but I got to give you a trigger warning because I'm full octane there. What's going on, UFG? All right. So I guess we're going to go ahead and get into it. You know, maybe that's why it's not working or wasn't working, because I thought it was Christmas and it's actually Halloween. There it is. Greetings, Stony Plays. What's going on, Continuum? This is going to be a conversation and a breakdown of a video done by one Ketwalski. Before we get into it, you guys should already know this, but those who don't, Ketwalski and I are pretty good friends. We've done collaborations together. Me and him are actually trying to get a podcast together, and we got another collaboration that he wants to do in the near future. Ketwalski is a pretty good friend of mine. I do think he's a pretty cool guy. But I say when he's wrong. For instance, he literally thinks that Starfleet and the Federation, are two separate entities. And he said he'd come on. And I literally told him that I want him to come on because I intend to make an S-ton of money off of that kind of stupidity. I literally told him that, hey, that is so stupid. I want you to come onto my channel so I can make so much money off of you. And I fully intend to do that. I fully intend to make all kinds of money off of somebody being just ridiculously dumb in that instance. But Ketwalski isn't dumb overall. He's a good guy. All right, so we're going to talk about a video he did and more just the concepts, because there's a couple of things that have been coming up. I'm consistently asked about Anis Abdin and his lawsuit of CBS, as well as Axanar and that continuing lawsuit that's going on. I generally try to stay out of it because I have very little interest, though that has not historically been true. But it's continuing to come up, and so I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. So we're going to be breaking down his video, talking about the things I agree with, things I don't, and ultimately trying to decide what the real truth is here. All right. And by the way, 50 people watching, only 11 likes. What's going on with that? What is going on with that? Starfleet and the Federation are separated, though. That's why there was a Starfleet and Enterprise, but no Federation. Oh, Jesus Christ, you people. Oh, my God. Ugh. Okay. Okay. I'll do it one time. United Earth existed, and they wanted to create a scientific exploration, and ultimately became a naval defense. And so they created Starfleet. Just like when the United States said, hey, kicking out those British idiots was really fun, but I don't want to die, so maybe we should create the U.S. military. Maybe we should create the U.S. military. So the United Earth was like, hey, let's create Starfleet. Fantastic. Then the United Earth joined the Federation, and because humans were integral to the Federation, they created their science and military aspect after what the United Earth had. It is literally the military of the Federation. It is beyond ridiculous. You guys no one is that stupid. You guys are trolling me. Literally, I have talked to people who believe that, well, no, I can't say that. I would say people who believe the 25% thing are dumber than that. But they're the only ones. 25% rule, number one, dumbest thing I've ever heard. Flat Earthers are now tied with Starfleet is not a part of the Federation. You guys are tied. You're on the same thing. Then the moon landing. All right. So let's get this started. Jason Link, so help me, I will ban you. I'll ban you for like 90 seconds or whatever the hell it says. Hold on. Here it is. Here we go. Ain't no globe Earth. That's true. Ketwalski is the Army separate from the U.S. That's what I'm saying. All right, here we go. This one? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. All right, so we're going to do a quick test run. Make sure you guys can hear me. The moon landing was faked. I'll believe that before I believe Starfleet was not a federation. Was not a part of the Federation. I see the Premiere has the bug too. This isn't Premiere, good buddy. Hold on. How is desktop audio also not working? Tell me if you can hear that. You probably can't. You guys probably could not hear that. Because, for whatever reason, desktop audio is also not working. Because why would it work? Right, folks? Why? Testing 1, 2.
Are about to
There it is.
discover galactic travel through the latest technology. Isn't really entirely clear. The first video.
Now, let me know if you guys can hear that. It'll take it a second.
This is not a video.
Oh, wrong button. Too much chemtrails in the air. OBS is awesome. I don't care what you say. I don't care what any of you say. All right. So could you hear it? Let's try it one more time.
NASA's YouTube channel on May 8th, 2014. Then on February 22nd,
5 by 5. All right. That's what I figured. Okay. Here we go. Here we go again. By the way, the silent intro, we talked about this. He thinks it's better. I disagree. I don't think you should have a silent intro. So already shots fired, Ketwalski. Already shots fired.
This is not a video that I thought I was going to ever have to make. But
what I was tempted to do, by the way, we actually will get into it, but I wanted to do a side by side with those people who apologize, who did the obvious scams, like oh, I forget, but you know, it's like I didn't want to make this video and they're holding their dogs and whatever. Just because of that, I want to do that. All right, we're gonna actually listen to it. Sorry.
this is not a video that I thought I was going to ever have to make. But here we are. I want to say that this video isn't an attack on Anas Abdeen, or really anybody. If anything, it's more of a call to reason. And I know, as some of you guys may recall, I have initially supported Anas's lawsuit against CBS in regards to the tardigrade situation, but, well, I can't really get behind his appeal, and I have begun to really question what really is just fair use, homage, or theft. Unfortunately, I've gotten really good at finding things on the internet. It's kind of a hazard of this particular YouTube channel.
All right, so let's stop it right there for just a second because he's asking some interesting questions and such. For those, I think he goes back into it, but I'll go just real briefly. Anas Abdeen has been suing CBS for copyright for quite a few. It's been years, I think, and there's been a lot going on back and forth. The problem is that, like anything, it's really divisive to have these conversations. If you hate CBS or if you hate Discovery, then you have to be on Anas's side. Anas can't do anything wrong. And a lot of channels have actually went all in with this, like 100% all in. Ironically, Ketwalski is known for having fights with a lot of channels, and a lot of channels are not fans of his. The one thing they agreed on was Anas Abdeen and how he was just for where he was going with it. Unlike, now Ketwalski didn't do this, but again, other channels have, where they specifically go all in and it's all or nothing. Like CBS is 100% wrong. which is something that I shy away from. I generally don't go on something is 100% wrong because of issues like this. So let's continue on.
So grab a drink, sit back, relax, and let's just jump right into Blackout Alert. Okay, so let's do a quick lawsuit in brief. Back in 2014, indie game developer Anas Abdin kicked off a Steam greenlight project for a game called Epic, a point-and-click adventure game designed to be a large homage to earlier video gaming. With a description reading, quote, "In our understanding of time, it is the year 20,000 BC, where civilizations are about to discover galactic travel through the latest technology of their time." With the Greenlight project approved, a trailer for Epic was uploaded to Anas's YouTube channel on May 8th, 2014. Then, on February 22nd, 2015, Anas
No edit there, by the way. That was lovely. You can see how smooth it was.
officially changed the name of this game from Epic to, quote, tardigrades for a reason that isn't really entirely clear. The first video to show Anas's tardigrade being used as a transportation device within the game was titled Blue Blood Tardigrades.
All right, we're going to go back a little bit. So he goes through the entire lawsuit, or at least the background, and that was it in a nutshell. Just to support a single dad, thank you so much, Jen Negre. People saying lore love. Hey, I love you too. The H is silent. That's a joke, by the way. Don't at me. I'm going to sue CBS and Anas on behalf of the tardigrade for likeness rights infringement. Support me on GoFundMe. Yeah, we're going to get into that. This gets a little bit deeper than that. We're going to look at that GoFundMe. You may have not done that on purpose, Z Films, but there's a GoFundMe attached to all of this. Because, of course, there's a GoFundMe. Anyway, so that's the background. I don't have a ton to add here beyond to say, again, when it first came out, it seemed so, cut and dry. Because everybody is instantly willing to look at just what things sound like and just go with it. Hey, and I am very much like that as well. If you look at my earlier stuff, I was so what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say hate-filled, but I was very much bandwagoning, very aggressive. Because it's easy to do and people love it.
Was titled Blue Blood Tardigrades Teaser 16, uploaded on July 12th, 2017. 10 days later, CBS uploaded the first full trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 1 on July 22nd, 2017. The trailer for Star Trek Discovery doesn't explicitly show the tardigrade, however, it is clearly already in the finished episodes based off of the spore drive containment cell being in the background of several shots. Now, Star Trek Discovery wouldn't air until September 24th, 2017, a full 2 months after both videos were posted online, wherein Anas sees a space-traveling tardigrade being used in Discovery and asks himself a very simple question: did these guys steal my video game idea?
See, so, and he's going to go into it, but I think that's pretty damaging, in my opinion. And the reason is when you take a look at when he produced the game versus when this was put together, it is almost beyond the scope to imagine that the tardigrade was stolen, given how much it would take to put the tardigrade itself into the episodes. If it is coming out 2 months after, they would have been doing this for a year or more when it comes to scripting, when it comes to the CGI, when it comes to all these different kinds of things. One thing about putting a TV series or a movie together, that stuff isn't fast. It is slow as hell. You spend millions. The Avengers spent millions of dollars, millions upon millions. We're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars before the first scene was ever shot. It is stupid how much goes into putting a show or a movie or anything like this together. So if his video game was done within that year, it would seem unlikely to me, based on what I know and my history and what I'm doing now, that they would have done that, would have put it in there. Now, that's my opinion. Some people may disagree. But I think that is the first red flag. Now, it's not impossible. It is just very, very difficult, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with until he stops paying me to agree. That's right, Nassim. I pay most people to agree. Your microphone audio is a little low compared to the audio. Well, I can do that, and I can help out, and then I can lower that a little bit. Let me know how that goes. There's a difference in making a game and putting the teaser also. This has to be considered, and the game was announced in 2014. I don't know when tardigrades entered into it. See, I went back and looked myself, and it looked fairly early to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off on that. But it seemed like the two timelines were within a year of each other. A year or two of each other. A two, maybe. I think it was more a year. It was something that made me question it, too. Maybe I'm wrong, though. I'm open to being wrong. Michael Lindsay, it's in the mail, dude. As I told you, it's always in the mail. Your money.
Well, after years of legal back and forth, the New York City judge approved CBS and Netflix's request to dismiss Anas's copyright lawsuit outright on September 20th, 2019. Anas then posted on his blog saying, quote, "I respect the ruling." And that's where we were just a few weeks ago. And, well, the respect for the ruling, I guess, didn't last particularly long, as
That's unfair. Kowalski, if you're here, I really should have pointed this out beforehand. I do think that's a little unfair. You can respect a ruling and disagree with it and appeal it and not be disrespectful to the ruling. I think that's a little unfair.
as Anas and his legal team were back in court filing an appeal on October 8th, 2019. So at this point, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, this is all the information I...
1 second, guys. Aerial Ballet, thank you so much. Give me a quick second. Sorry, my ability to... This thing should be reading if you guys do over $5. So I don't know why it's not. First off, thank you so much, Aerial Ballet. But Aerial Ballet saying, don't ask where I got it. Gasps for air, but CBS is after me. You didn't see anything. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They'll never know. Thank you for using that, too, because 30% doesn't go to YouTube. Appreciate that. Hey, we're live. What's up, baby?
Can we get some lemonade?
Go have your sister give you some lemonade.
Okay.
Love you. If she can't, let me know. All right, so let's get back into it. No, it froze. It shouldn't have been frozen. Why would it freeze? Can you guys still see me? Swear to God, if you're messing with me, buddy. Yeah, no, I'm still live. All right, let's do it. So yeah, wow, thank you so much, Aerial Ballet. I really appreciate it, and especially the way you give it. It's just awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, let's get back into it.
I already know about the case. What else do you have to tell me about? What else is there really to, add to this conversation? Well, when Anas refiled his lawsuit and coordinated to kick off his GoFundMe page with Nerdrotic, he also made this blog post saying, quote, "If you have ever been a victim of IP theft or plagiarism, please let me know too. Don't be quiet. You have a voice and you must be heard." Well, I want to remind all of you before we get into the second part of this video that the group supporting Anas believe wholeheartedly that any small infraction of IP theft is wrong, no matter what.
The group. I'm not going to point it out. Everybody knows. That reminds me. I'm sorry. Well, it's funny because I do the exact same thing. But it's like that reminds me when you say the group, because everybody knows who we're all talking about. But there was a Family Guy episode where they were talking about McDonald's, but they weren't saying McDonald's. And you had one of the characters who was like, everybody knows who we're talking about. It's stupid that we can't say the name. It was just funny.
And if you do it, then you're just the lawless thug who doesn't care about other people and their hard work as an artist.
He's not wrong, though. The other group does actually say that, and others people if you don't agree with them, whether by inference or direct comment.
And it would be a shame if Anas Din had done this, and you could just, prove it. The film Dune from the 80s starts off like this.
A beginning is a very delicate task.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. I forgot you use that. Don't. If I'm going to use your stuff wholesale and not give you money for it, can you please not use other IPs and don't give them money for it? Okay, you know how that starts.
The beginning is a very delicate time. Know then that it is the year 20,191.
That's just a homage, you say? Okay, that's
copy
fine.
the
That's
movie.
fine. Another video of Anas literally has the character saying energized while standing on a transporter device. Another homage, I'm sure. You want something more beefy, though, right? Okay. Well, here's...
All right, so for the most part, he points out where Amos Anas Abdin, you can go take a look, goes and copies all of these ones right here. So then he points out how in one of the games he names both the planet and something else, and then Anas has it as his banner on YouTube. So we'll get to this one. This one I think is important, so we'll bring it up.
Okay, one more. In this video on Anas's YouTube channel, he supposedly recreated the introduction sequence of the television show Dexter with the title Dexter Morning Routine Intro-Game, and includes the words in his description, "You can get the game for free from my website." There is no game, nor is there any additional information about it on Anas's blog.
So let's address something real quick, because maybe it's fair. Nihilist Shadow says, "Gotta love that a whataboutism." So let's address that and let's get into that, because that's somewhat of a counter argument. So we're talking about the lawsuit and how Anas feels like his stuff was infringed upon and they were making money off of it. In this video, Ketwalski comes back and points out that Anas and YouTuber channels have specifically come up and said, this is completely wrong. You should never infringe on someone else's copyright. You shouldn't take it, especially for a huge corporation. This is absolutely horrible. And so Ketwalski then points out, well, look at A, B, C, and D. And Nihilus, and again, this is more talking to the theory Nihilus, not necessarily you, says, gotta love that whataboutism. So what he's saying is, they did this, but look, it's a way of discrediting it, saying, well, what about this, right? I didn't explain that correctly, but it's basically a way of saying, whether it's hypocrisy or not, it doesn't matter, right? It's fair in this instance, and I don't necessarily agree that it's the whataboutism, because of both Anas, I don't know how to say the name, Mr. Abdin, and the other channel's stances. The other channels are hard line. And Abdin has been hard line on this. No, this is absolutely wrong. They have tardigrades, blue tardigrades, and look at all this. That is absolutely cannot do it. Cannot be had. The truth will set you free. Can't do it. Can't have tardigrades, blue tardigrades. CBS is wrong. If you're going to take such a stance, then it's not a whataboutism to say, look at your hypocrisy. And it's these things, I went and looked. I don't know that I checked every one of them, but I definitely verified at least 2 or 3 of them, especially that last one. And it's done. And it is this last one that he's talking about, this Dexter one, and we're going to start back and take a look at it. This Dexter one is way worse than anything CBS ever did to Abdin from an intellectual property standpoint. Now, maybe not monetarily. Obviously, Abdin can't touch CBS. But when it comes to that, ZE Films, talk to you later, German Trekkie. Hey, man, I'll shoot you a message on Discord later if you're still here. All right, so let's continue on. Now, Barry Ben says, depends on if it's derivative or full ID is used. Here's the thing. The idea, what he uses here, what he says here, or what he uses here, is analogous to what CBS used. Dexter straight out, this is technically complete copyright infringement, I believe. If that's Dexter recreation, then it is. The other stuff is on par, in my opinion, with what CBS did to him. Now, it doesn't make what CBS did right. If they were in the wrong, they were in the wrong. But you can't sit here and act like you're the arbiter of all that is good if you're doing the same thing those you're attacking on. Oni Kitsune helping out the channel. I dubbed today Lore Reloaded Day. Well, every day is Lore Reloaded Day, buddy. I don't know, between the blue tardigrade traveling through space and FX, the relationship, black female and redhead so close together by date, could be coincidence. Maybe. We're going to get more into that in a second. Wasn't just the tardigrade, the character looks were nearly identical, certain character interpersonal backgrounds were near identical. We're going to get into that in a second, because Ketwalski found something I didn't even look at. Spectrum, I don't know, between the blue tardigrade traveling through space and FX. Oh, we've already talked about that. All right, let's continue on.
In this video on Anas's YouTube channel, he supposedly recreated the introduction sequence of the television show Dexter with the title Dexter Morning Routine Intro-Game, and includes the words in his description, "You can get the game for free from my website." There is no game, nor is there any additional information about it on Anas's blog.
To be fair, there could have been a game before that was deleted that you didn't get there in time. So maybe when it was uploaded, there was a game, and now there's not, because he realized that may have not been legal.
He was never authorized to create a video game about the television show Dexter by... And you really just can't make...
No one, it doesn't matter if you can see it. I'm tired of you people constantly calling me out.
Make this stuff up. CBS, who owns Dexter and show information about it on Anas's blog. He was never authorized to create a video game about the television show Dexter by... And you really just can't make this stuff up. CBS, who owns Dexter and Showtime. Also, the piano song in this video isn't his, nor does he credit the YouTuber who originally uploaded it.
Oh my god, I forgot you started playing the music too. I don't own this music either. Neither do you, by the way. I didn't get permission. I hope you did. I'm just going to let it play, because screw it.
Thank you, Mike and Man 44. You did a great job.
So there's a couple of things here to go through. Why are we saying what the hell, Michael Lindsay? There are a couple of things to go here. So Futurama, named planets from Dune, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, had a Doom reference in Hellraiser episode. I don't know about the Hellraiser episode, but you can name things similar. Well, I tell you what, let's take it from your point. I'm not even going to argue that. Let's take it from your point. Futurama named plants from Dune, Grim Adventures, Billy and Mandy had Dune reference in Hellraiser episodes, says Barry Ben. Well, then you can just say the same thing. Since that Futurama can do it from Dune, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and such, why can't CBS do it to Anas? Unless you're saying that it's all okay. Drunken Lizard Wizard says, I have no clue what's going on. Help me. Let me know what you need, Drunken Wizard. I'll try to walk you through it. Nathan Norman, to suggest that they don't take some of Anas's ideas is simply to ignore facts. He kept the progress of his game in the public eye for potential investors. He's still building the game. Nathan, can you provide me with one of his two things? First, can you provide me with some evidence that he talked about blue tardigrades going through space before 2 months before the launch of the CBS of Discovery? How the hell did I forget the name of the show of Discovery? Secondly, can you give me an adequate argument for why someone couldn't come up with a blue tardigrade? Tardigrades having special abilities is actually not even something that is special to ANOS nor CBS. People have had instances of tardigrades being more powerful or having other abilities for a long time, since tardigrades have come into existence. Not tardigrade, what the tardigrade is based off of. Are they named tardigrades? I don't know. Other piece is Nihilus saying, if the game's not up, what are you complaining about? Sure, it would be the hypocrisy and the fact that he actually committed IP infringement. Whether he took it down or not doesn't matter. You're being disingenuous or a bad faith actor if you seriously are trying to say that it doesn't matter.
There are a few other interesting things here that I want to point out. ANOS, as far as I can tell, hasn't officially released any games to date that I could find or download, but two others are listed on this website, Adventure Gamers. Also, ANOS was initially using this image to try to showcase the physical resemblance of Culber and Stamets to the gay couple in his game. However, the white dude pictured there isn't the character his version of Culber is in a relationship with. It's this guy, who looks nothing like Stamets at all.
I'll just pause that and say the name Nathan Norman, just to say the name. Not related at all.
Later on, in different blog posts, the comparison is dropped altogether and instead focused on Stamets looking like the main character, Carter. I don't know why he changed it, but I assume his lawyers probably told him to do that. Additionally, Yolanda, who is supposed to be the Michael Burnham of the game, is a black female communications officer. You mean like Uhura?
That was cheap. That was absolutely cheap. Do you think everyone is jumping on the lawsuit bandwagon because they hate Star Trek Discovery? Daniel, I think that's a large part of it. I absolutely do think it is absolutely a large part of it. Fan films, by the way, Nihilus, I'm beginning to question your honesty here. Because fan films are still a breaking of copyright infringement. And depending on the fan film, like, say, Axanar, you can go too far and rightfully get sued. Lore Reloaded, could you PM a link of the Discord on Patreon? Sure, I actually shared it on Patreon. You should have access to the official one. You didn't have to pay me $5 for that, Mary. I'll send it to you after this, and if you want the $5 back, I'll send it back to you. You didn't have to do that. You should. I already shared it, but I'll do it again. I'm sorry that maybe it didn't go through. I apologize. People have made fan games of Star Wars before. It's still illegal. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't care. You can. I got a minor in copyright law. You can't just make something and call it a fan fiction or call it fan made and it not be illegal. If you make a game off of Star Wars and you copy everything that's in Star Wars, even if you don't take any money from it, it's illegal. Unless Star Wars lets you do it. Parody is very intricate, and there are a lot of things that go into it. Making a straight-up game of Star Wars and copying it 100% is illegal. However, making a parody game where it's obvious that you're making fun of Star Wars and you're adding something and you're making something new, not just taking elements from, may be under fair use. May. But if you're just taking exactly what the original user had and you're just using that, that is against the law, and it is up to the IP holder if they want to endorse their copyright or not. RKS, if you study law, you should know that you shouldn't be giving legal advice as you're not a lawyer. Sweet RKS, if you can point the timestamp where I was giving legal advice and not telling you how things work, I'd appreciate that so I can go back. Also, you're not allowed to practice law. Giving legal advice and practicing law are two different things. The reason why people say, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take it, is so that they don't get sued. But hey, what do I know? I just have a degree in the thing.
Okay, so now comes kind of the tricky part in all this, which is that I did support Anas in his initial lawsuit, but here I am kind of breaking him down. Well, I still think some of these kind of similarities are rather odd between the game and the show, but ultimately it's impossible to prove. And the timeline of when his trailer and Discovery's trailer were released are too close together for it to have been stolen. Before that trailer that was published just 10 days before the Discovery Season 1 trailer was out, there was no mention of tardigrades being used as a space traveling device on his blogs or in other videos. The name tardigrade was there, but that was it. We saw like a little bit of an animation of a tardigrade kind of moving around, but nothing about enveloping or the blue mists and all that stuff being put together in one cohesive idea. So the idea that it was stolen from them, I think is... I'm sorry to say, I think that might just be a bit of a stretch. And if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, you know that I don't let this kind of stuff just slide when it comes to people going after Star Trek. I'm very protective over it. And this video makes me kind of sad in some ways.
That face. That's the face of the person who is the protector, the self-proclaimed protector of Star Trek. That face. So let's take a look at a couple things. As an artist, you're allowed to draw images of copyrighted material and sell them, and it's not considered ripping off. Depends on how you do it and what you change. If you're making something new, yeah. You got to be careful with that stuff, though. You can actually, there have been lawsuits where someone just took something, recreated it, and lost because they were selling it. It's a lot more complicated. I'll say this. I think the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, is woefully out of touch and needs to be updated, just severely. You damn right they did, or darn right they didn't infringe on gelato machines. I'd sue for that. Who'd be protective of Discovery? Yes. And you have a blue huge on the inside TARDIS, similar name, and Doctor Who that travels in space and time and even into other dimensions. I've heard that. Are Lore and Katwalski afraid to punch up? Yeah, I'm completely devastatingly afraid to punch up, which is the exact reason that I'm coming on here and agreeing with Katwalski and going against Midnight's Edge and Nerdrotics. Because I am completely and utterly afraid of punching up to not only Nerdrotics and Midnight's Edge on their own. Really, I don't have necessarily an issue with. I don't even think they care if they saw this. I don't think they get upset. But their fan base is effing rabid, man. I mean, the fan base that for Nerdrotic, Mecha, and all them, rabid to the bone. Not them necessarily, but their fan base. Which is exactly why I'm doing this. Because I'm completely and utterly scared of punching up or those fan bases that are going to relentlessly come after me now. So yeah, I definitely never punch up. Yes, Katwalski's corpse is still in my closet. Why can't CBS just take ideas from I Don't Know Star Trek? Chief Engineer, you're talking to me, man. You're telling me, preaching the choir on that. I'm not defending CBS or Discovery in that scope, man. That was just, they need to work on their stuff. CBS used, did a lot of homages, we'll say, to other different IPs, which is fine. You can actually do that, but I'm not defending Discovery.
I have technically known Anas now for a few years, and I fully supported Anas stepping up and asking the question regarding theft, and I believe that he had his day in court, and he got his answer. But now I think that he's kind of being pressured and misled, which I believe is why he went ahead and decided to do an appeal.
I disagree with Katwalski here. I don't think that I don't think he's necessarily being pressured, and I don't think he's being misled. I think he's making a wrong decision. I think we're giving a little too much power to YouTube channels in that instance.
And by the way, this appeal means that he cannot provide any new evidence or any new witnesses. And if you read the original court ruling, you'll know that there's really no way another judge is going to go and rule differently. It's pretty open and shut based off of what was inside the court document when the case was initially dismissed. So why file the appeal? Well, money, I think, is certainly the most contributing factor. And as long as Anas doesn't get countersued or slapped with court fees by CBS, which I doubt either one of those things will happen just because of the PR nightmare it will cause, then it's really just a win-win for everybody involved. Anas gets money from the GoFundMe page, and the YouTubers supporting him get subscribers and a bunch of ad revenue from all the videos they make covering the lawsuit. It would be almost stupid of them to not pursue it further, I guess, if that makes sense, at least from their perspective. And I also want to say, other than the Dexter video with the piano song in there, everything else really, in my opinion, wasn't theft or stolen IP. However, the group supporting Anas, and by his own words on his blog, he has stolen another person's IP and is being hypocritical, at least in this instance. But their extreme definition of any type of IP violation.
So, couple of things here. Obviously, hashtag not all. If you like Nerdrotics or Midnight's Edge, I'm not saying that you specifically are rabid. But they do have a rabid fan base that will go after you if you disagree with them or disagree with the ideas that they had. I've had more issues with Midnight's Edge followers than I ever have with Nerdrotics, but I've still had to deal with both of them. So if you, and again, that's not specific to you, as you said, some of them, and it's not even knocking the channels, as I think Jamie, was it, or someone up there said, who said it? Matthew. I'm not knocking the channels, just the fan base. To Matthew's point of, to Michael Engineer's point of view, you were talking about how CBS was more expansive than they are, and how I'm being unfair to their power base. I'm still not following you on that. So,
violation needs to be fully investigated and probably sued over. You know, it's too much. It's not really realistic. So I put all of this back onto you to think about critically.
All right. Well, we'll finish.
What really is theft or home?
Here's the cat. His cat always comes in, and almost every one of them, if you notice now, his cat's dark colored. And I think it annoys him when you point it out. So if you go to Katwalski's videos and you watch his, point out the time his cat always comes in, because it always does.
Homage, or just stuff that people use to be creative with, and, you know, sometimes we're not the best at giving credit where credit's due.
All right. So let's break that down a little bit.
Curious to hear what all...
Well, that was Katwalski's video. It'll be linked below. You guys should definitely check it out. Again, Katwalski and I are good friends, so take a lot of this with that in mind. I think he did really well putting all of that together. I don't necessarily agree with all of the conclusions he makes, but Jace, okay. Man, that threw me for a loop. I don't know why I read your comments. Let me go ahead and address it. So I disagree with a lot of... I disagree with some of his conclusions, but I think what he put together is done very well. Check in the description to watch it for yourself. Make your own opinions. JSim Outdoors. Laura's afraid of Midnight's Edge, and he chickens out to guest on Midnight Edge livestream. They won't have me on. I would be more than happy to go on Midnight's Edge or Midnight's Edge livestream, but I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, they won't have me on. Stephen Mims helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Well, at least you're up front about the punching up thing. But hey, look how punching up via iDubbbz at time. Not too big YouTuber after he made the Content Cop series. That was a bunch of punching up then. Yeah, I mean, I more attack the ideas and not the person or the YouTubers and things like that. I try very, very hard. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the person is the one at fault. But I really try to look at the... ideas and ideology versus the person, because the person doesn't matter at the end of the day. When it comes to punching up and punching down, since this is apparently a thing we need to address at this point, I used to believe that punching down wasn't necessarily a thing, and that you can't or should, or that you can respond to whoever you want to. I think people with bigger audiences should take care in how they respond and who they respond to. I think the medium matters. For me at least. I think the medium matters. So when it comes to punching up, punching down, if there's a channel that's significantly smaller than mine, and I think that what I'm responding to will do a lot of hate, then I will respond to the idea without ever mentioning the person, simply because I don't want to bring that on anybody. That's my opinion. When it comes to punching up, I don't necessarily think that there's a problem with responding to someone on your level or higher than you. And you can respond to people lower than you. You just got to know what you're doing. That's my opinion. It's really past what we're getting into, though. When did I get a haircut? I got a haircut a couple of days ago after you guys kept complaining that I look shaggy. No, this is not a wig. Any hypocrisy by Anas doesn't change any merits of his case. Two separate issues. That's fair, but I don't really see a lot of merits of the case. Necessarily, especially when you look at the differences in it, right? By the way, 118 people watching, only 59 likes. Come on, people, hit that like button. Don't be scared. Don't be scared at all. There was one point that was brought up specifically that was talking about, money, and that money is involved in this. I don't know Anas. No idea. Don't know him from Adam. What I do know is that currently, right now, and apparently it's trending, the Justice for Anas Star Trek lawsuit appeal is at $17,200 with a goal of $20,000. My name is Omnus Abdin. I'm an independent game developer and a pixel artist. I sued both CBS and Netflix for copying major elements from a video game I'm developing called Tardigrades. Blah, blah, blah. There's no original. If you are an independent creator, you can be next. Any large entity can steal your ideas and get away with it. So this is fear-mongering and makes Anas look exceptionally insincere and, in my opinion, this is exceptionally insincere. Because when you look at the case and why it was dismissed, the judge made some really good arguments for that. The judge, his explanation made a lot of sense. So, I don't know how much it takes to file an appeal. When I talk to someone, I haven't looked it up myself, but apparently the appeal itself is $500 to do the appeal. You can't offer any more evidence, as Katwalski pointed out. So why do you need 16,000? Well, why would you need 15,000 more? Is that all for the lawyers, I guess? I'm not saying he doesn't need it. I don't understand why we're at 20,000. And when you read this, it comes off as exceptionally insincere, in my opinion. Or maybe not insincere, maybe ingenuine, or not genuine is the word I'm looking for. As far as I can tell, CBS just has him dead to rights on this. There's not enough evidence to prove that CBS stole anything. So, is he doing it because he sincerely believes it, or is he doing it because he can get a payday? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he has enough evidence to prove anything when you look at what the judge says. Obviously, he disagrees with that. Katwalski did bring up different channels that were doing it for views. Here's my opinion on that, because it is breaking a lot. Do you have access to the judge's decision that's free to access? I'll take a look if I can get that. Okay, because I used to. I don't know if I still have it. But I'll take a look at it. But going back to what I was saying beforehand, I just don't know what an appeal would do when again, in my opinion, the judge was very succinct. There's not even a question necessarily to it. Oh, I was talking about the YouTubers. So when it comes to YouTube channels that are profiting off of this or pushing this, there's a couple of things to that. I don't think that it's being malicious. I don't think that it's, on YouTubers' side, insincere. I additionally don't think I don't think there's any malice to it. What I do think is that it's good YouTube, that it's good TV, that it is something that would get a lot of people to view it. One of the reasons I'm talking about this right now, and did the title in the way I did, is because it starts a conversation. This I've been accepting super chats, and I can guarantee you this is monetized. There's nothing wrong necessarily with doing that. I think that generally most of the YouTube channels actually believe in this. They're passionate about it, and whether they've deluded themselves or they're completely right, or they're in the right and they're thinking accurately, believe in this task, and that's why they're doing it. I would say that of Nerdrotics. I think Mecca has talked about it. I'd say that of Mecca. I don't think on their side there's anything nefarious here. That's my opinion. That's what I think. But when it comes to Anas, I have my doubts. CP Lassen, when an appellate court is not about the facts presented at trial, it's about the procedure used and the law cited in the trial court. If either are determined to be an error, the trial verdict can be changed. I don't think there was anything done wrong. I guess we're going to find out. Michael, chief engineer. Let's talk about that. Mr. Miles, chief engineer. I was talking about punching up CBS is much higher on the totem pole than Midnight's Edge or others. It sounded like you were trying to equate the backlash you'd get from them. Let me be completely clear here. I will get an S-ton more hate from Midnight's Edge and Nerdrotics and Mecca's fan base than they get. Do I want to say that? Yes. Then they generally would get, I'll put generally in there, generally would get from just making videos. The only time that they get a ton of hate or comeback is when specific actors or actresses or directors come back at them. Not CBS executives, not CBS overall. And generally those times, they have somewhat, they play a part in it. That's not to say that they wanted it, they asked for it. I've come to the fence, and I still stand by things that negatively that have been done to Mecca, Nerdrotics, and all of them. They shouldn't get the hate that comes on them, I don't think. But CBS as an entity, the executives and such, they've never gotten backlash from that. They've gotten backlash from the actors, actresses, and such, not CBS employees. Let's talk about your other thing. CBS can influence YouTube directly. YouTube ultimately is your platform of choice and your boss's sense. When Midnight's Edge followers would just have some angry people downvoting you or leaving. You have never had to deal with Midnight's Edge subscribers, is what that tells me. If what you're saying is that, all Midnight's Edge fans are going to do is they're going to come and downvote you, you have never dealt with Midnight's Edge subscribers. As for CBS's impact on YouTube, if I go to Mecca Random or I go to Nerdrotic or I go to Midnight's Edge, I don't know why I keep including Mecca. She has nothing to do with this. If I go to Nerdrotics and I go to Midnight's Edge and I look at their videos, am I going to see some anti-CBS videos that are in the hundreds of thousands of views? Because if I am, CBS sucks at influencing YouTube. By the way, I'm not mad at you, Chief. You're good people. But that's just my opinion on it. That's the one, a story of a ship sent to the other side of the world, far from home. Nope. And by the way, my name is Miles, not Mike. No worries, though. I know it's an easy mistake to make at a glance. Mr. Miles. No, it says Mr. Miles on your name. I'm just using your name. I didn't know your Mike was your name. I forget your name. I don't know why. It's like I watch Anti-Tracker, and for some reason I don't remember your name. I'm stupid. Watch Mojo posted a lot of videos about Mary Poppins being a Time Lord. Okay. So anyway, how about them Knicks? I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this? I'm curious where you guys want to go with this. Personally, I think Anas lost fair and square, and I think this push is weird. And I don't know where he intends to go with it. I don't know anything about it. And I think it's similar to Axanar, if I'm being honest. I think Axanar was in the wrong, and I think the judge was more than fair on that. And a lot of people just want to hate CBS because they don't like Discovery. Jace M. Outdoors, I'm a fan of yours and Midnight Edge. I think you both get equal amount of hate. I disagree with that. Based on Midnight's Edge's size, they probably get more hate than I do, I would say. But I'd be surprised if it was from my fan base. We are having completely different discussions. Well, Axe Man Titan, welcome to the Lore Reloaded live streams, because this is exactly how it hands. You think Anas could be sued for his Dexter by CBS? By the way, I just got an update from Ketwalski. Apparently his game did go live, and he is giving it for free. Could he get sued for the Dexter thing? Yeah, I think he could. And he'd probably lose, but I don't think he will. There's no reason CBS would do that. The Tardigrade, why won't anyone think of the Tardigrade? ZE Films. ZE Film Productions, by the way, does some wonderful breakdowns, especially when it comes to Star Trek Online. He's kind of, he's basically like the person for Star Trek Online when it comes to their ships and stuff. He's well known. The company loves him and stuff. You guys should check out his channel. He's fun. What exactly has Midnight's Edge and that lot got right about Star Trek in their news and rumors? Seems like every time they claim something less than a week, they're proven wrong. I wouldn't agree with that. I think there's quite a bit that they talk about that was, that they get accurate. You know, so here's an interesting piece to that. Midnight's Edge, generally, when it comes to their rumors, calls them a rumor in the video. Like that 25% thing, they say it's a rumor. I have no issues with Midnight's Edge video, in fact. The issues I generally have is with people to take it and say it's fact when the video says it's not. What's up, baby?
Can we put on Sims?
Play on Sims?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have Sims. Oh, yeah, we do. Have your sister put it on for you, please.
Why?
Thanks for yelling out her name.
Why?
There you go. Let's get it louder if they didn't miss the first time. Go down and get her. Go downstairs and get her. Can you put on The Sims for her, please?
Put on what for her?
The Sims. It probably will. If it has a code, I'll have to BRB people. I don't bother watch fan-made Star Trek because it's not canon and it's a waste of time. I think you're missing out on that, Dan23. I personally, I like it. Lore, go play Sims. I have never gotten into Sims. Of course there's a code. All right, guys, you have to sit here and watch. You can't not go anywhere. I'll be right back because, of course, there's a code. Because why wouldn't there be a code, obviously?
I'm gonna distract them because
Don't distract. All right, what were we talking? She didn't know it was muted, I told her. All right, so what were we talking about, guys? Lest we end it here. So yeah. When I first found you 2 years ago, I'd be at work listening to Trek lore. Found another huge nerd channel from you. Don't let it ruffle your feathers, man. I'm not ruffled at all. But I'm pretty relaxed. Thank you, Dustin. She was more entertaining than Laura. Yeah. She usually is. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving. All right, so let's yeah, they loved it. They're talking about it. So I don't know what's on the docket for new videos. Well, I got a Dominion War coming out, and then sponsored video Wednesday. Y'all should watch. And I'm gonna start getting back into, because now I'm at the point where I can actually do the other stuff. I think I'm gonna have another Robotech coming up. So anyway, anything else you guys want to add? Or are we going to end it here for the most part? The only problem I have is Midnight Edge is all their videos is always negative. You know, I was a lot like that before. A lot of my stuff was negative. And had a really negative bent. And it's really easy to do, and it gets a lot of views. That is not to say that they're doing it on purpose or that they're just doing it for views or anything like that. But when it comes to being aggressive and being negative, it's easy to fall into that. I try really hard to just be me, and you know, to try to still keep some positive to it. I'm about to ban the living heck out of you, Miles. Have you seen Star Trek 1 Spectre? It's amazing. I haven't, but I'll go check that out after this. Thank you for supporting the channel. I haven't seen it. Someone keeps Ben. You have an associate's in criminal justice, right? I have an associate's in criminal justice. I have a bachelor's in business administration, and I had a minor in specifically copyright law. Now, when I got my associates, it actually wasn't called criminal justice. At the time, it was called pre-law. They decided to change it to criminal justice because it makes sense. Right now, I have enough credits for an associate's in digital cinematography, and in fact, we'll be doing my magnus opum next month so that I can go ahead and get my bachelor's, because I'm going to have to make a really solid short film, and if I do it well, they'll let me get my bachelor's. So that is my complete background. Now, what does that mean when it comes to anything? Doesn't necessarily mean a lot. The reason why I brought up specifically what I've done is to explain the experience I've had. I could or could not be wrong. I didn't know you could get a minor in copyright law with an associate's degree. Not doubting you, just curious. Sure, when it comes to minor or the focus of it, and I could be using that word wrong. It was my understanding. No, because that's the way I went to it. It was more adjusted with the bachelor's, though, with the criminal justice. I don't know. Do you want to see my stuff? I can get it for you if you want me to. Not right now. I think it's in packaging. I could send it to you. I could email you. No. If little Laura did that, Jace, she would get in a lot of trouble. Will you upload your film? I've been on the fence. I've actually done quite a bit. What you guys have seen isn't anything compared to what I've actually put together. I might upload it. I don't know. I suggest you make a Star Trek fan video. I wanted to, but they won't let me do it. Not because of copyright or anything like that, but they want it to be really basic. Maybe when I get into my bachelor's, they'll let me do a large one. But I don't think they'll let me do what I want to do. Because I actually have my idea. I'll pitch you my idea for a Star Trek fan film. It is based on an Earth-like planet, obviously, so they don't have to buy a ton of costumes and stuff, with a intelligence officer who's been captured by a government that is loyal to the Dominion, but he doesn't understand why. He's saved by a Section 31. He's saved by a Section 31 operative, and the operative and him have to get off the planet. And while he's trying to get off the planet, he learns that there may be two sides to the story why a government would side with the Dominion over the Federation. I think it's an interesting idea. They won't let me do it. Ben Turner, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so the Associates was my family. And then the business administration, the company I was working for, paid for that. And I've never really used either of them, those 2 degrees. It's ridiculous. How about an Orville fan film? That could be fun, but I have more Trek knowledge than I do Orville. Yeah, my thoughts with it. I think it'd be interesting. And, there's a fan film coming out that I'm endorsing and going to be throwing up. You guys are going to see it in the near future. And I think I'm going to try to talk to him so I can get some contacts within where I live. And I think it'd be pretty cool to bring all of that together. Yeah, the Section 31 agent is named 7. Absolutely. Why does it have to be Star Trek? It doesn't have to be Star Trek. I just enjoy Star Trek. I want to do a fan fiction of Star Trek just because I like it. I've considered doing a deep dive on Stargate Universe. I have, and I've said that I was going to do it, and I haven't yet, so I just need to do that. Have you ever considered... Oh, I already just asked that. All right, guys. I think that is where we're probably going to end it. Thank you so much. When it comes to this lawsuit, and it comes to Axanar and everything... and it comes to Anas, I don't think CBS is in the wrong. Doesn't make Star Trek Discovery right. Doesn't make CBS a good company. Doesn't mean CBS is overly litigious. I mean, unreasonably so. But I just don't think they are in this instance. By the way, the story I just told you guys, I would do because I think I could do it with a budget that I could get. My ultimate fan fiction, if money was no object, it would be a crew on a ship, not a Miranda, but something close to a Miranda class, but just current, that was a part of the Dominion War, that served in it, maybe was at the Sacrifice of Angels, something like that. And it would be kind of like Lower Decks, a non-hero ship with non-hero characters, and what the impact of the day-to-day of that for somebody who, didn't change the world. All right, guys, I think that is going to be it. And if money was no object, you better just buy the Trek rights. Yeah, that's what I'd do. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded. Going back to live streams every day. See you guys. Oh, yeah, and I'd love to do it to Cure class, but it doesn't work with the Lower Decks. Jaeger class, definitely. Faux show.